Hi again. You know, I can't remember the last time that I built a storm window for a customer, but storm windows used to be an essential part of living, particularly in colder climates. And it harkens back to my upbringing in the Midwest when Dad would take the window screens out in September and put the storm windows in, which we would leave in place until May to keep your house free of drafts. It was a real ordeal. Every spring you'd take the storm windows out and do the exact opposite. Storm windows in Florida are quite rare. People just don't think they need them down here, but the storm window actually serves the purpose as of a storm shutter as well. Now, what these are glazed with are 1/4-inch vandal glass or laminated safety glass, and when you have the threat of a hurricane down here, I can rest assured that this window probably won't get broken in the event of some flying tree branch or a can lid or shingle from my neighbor's house. But where you really need protection in Florida is, yes, during the storm, of course, with the high winds, but afterwards there's all kinds of opportunists lurking around just looking for houses that have been abandoned. People left because they didn't want to sit out the storm here in Florida, so they left their house unattended, and all you can do is depend on your neighbors to watch out for you. So when you have a storm window, it's a second layer of protection. Let's go inside and I'm going to show you some of the other possibilities, and more especially the advantages of having a storm window in your wood window of your old home. Here's the storm window I told you about and showed you on the outside. On the inside, this is what it looks like, and anyone trying to break in is going to have a real go of it, because I've placed these little pins in several locations, top and bottom, as well as the ubiquitous hook and eye lock. Now, it's getting kind of chilly here in Florida, so we have our storm windows in place. And if I want to ventilate the house, I'm going to prop the window open with just about anything. I want to ventilate the house, but I don't want bugs coming in, so they make these little expanding screens. You can snap one of those in. Maybe you want to get a breeze through the house, so you just adjust this ventilation fan, and that'll force air in or out depending on what your particular needs are. Here's another measure of security that very few people think about, and that's these expanding bars. They will adjust to nearly every size window between, say, this and this, and they come in 2 or 3 different sizes, that is 2 or 3 different heights. And that certainly provides a great deal of security when we have irregular times and you've got a bunch of marauders and opportunists looking for a house to break into. I sure don't want it to be mine. Let's walk around to the work area, and I'm going to show you a project that I'm working on for a house up in Dade City. This is a window that I'm building for an old house in Dade City. It was built around the turn of the century, and the architect wants to make it look like a Victorian home, but the Historic Society up there won't let us change the windows. So what I've done is made some wooden screens, and in the screen I have added what would have been a feature of, say, a window built in 1885 during the Victorian era, it was real common to see these 4-light windows, but what we have here is a 4-light screen. And but I want to draw your attention to something that I've incorporated in the screen, and I have actually provided a, well, we call it a let-in or a rabbit, to accept a piece of plate glass. This is Lexan. It's a shatterproof type of plastic or plexiglass. You would see it a lot on churches. They use it to protect their stained glass. What I have done is converted this window screen to a storm window, and if I want to take the glass out, it's just a matter of twisting these little tabs and it comes right out, and you can snap this plexiglass in from the inside. You don't have to take the screen out. With it being Lexan, it really isn't all that heavy. You know, I will say one thing about any type of 1/4-inch plate glass, whether it's tempered or regular plate glass, it's quite costly. Just the cost of the glass for these two panes will be somewhere around $230. But if you got to leave town in a hurry and you've got wood screens on your windows already, I mean, the very least you could do to board up your house is simply take a piece of plywood and nail a piece of plywood on the back of your window screen, or use screws. Now, from the street, it just looks like a window screen, but only you and I know that it's been converted to a storm window. To give it a little bit of extra seal, you can cut a channel in the edge of the screen frame and feed in a piece of this foam rubber. It's called backer rod. We've just made this somewhat more airtight by doing this simple little procedure. Again, we have our little security provision. This is called a hitch pin, and once the window's installed, I'll attach those at 4 points, as well as having 2 hook and eye locks on the bottom. And if anybody tries to break in, they're going to have a real time with it, because it is not easy to break into a window like this. I just wanted to say these are not difficult to make, and if you want to make it an exquisite piece of joinery with mortise and tenon joints and putty glazed windows, you can do so. You might want to think about it from a security standpoint. It would be a good idea to add something like this to your wood window, especially if you're inclined to leave town during a hurricane. Well, I'm Brian with Historic Woodwork in Tampa, Florida, and thank you for your interest.